back on the Prevost today, the Prevost. This is why I use insulated screwdrivers. If I can only have one screwdriver in my bag, it's gonna be an insulated screwdriver. Because when I gotta work around a lot of circuit boards and things like that, after you spend the money fixing stuff that you broke, you will learn to use an insulated screwdriver as well. What I'm not worrying about is getting a little small PB Swiss so that it can fit in the bag better. The bag just gonna have to deal with whatever tools I gotta use. I'm gonna use insulated screwdriver, and that's why I use them, guys. When you're working on stuff like this, you got all kind of electrical connections. You gotta have insulated screwdrivers. All right, so next step is to figure out, so these little red lights you see, these are called the panel lights. So some of the panel lights work, some of the panel lights do not work. So I do it with the lights off. I noticed that this panel is not lit up at all. Without the panel lights working, you cannot vanity light should be coming on now. I gotta get my power probe and hook up in here, and some of these switches don't seem to work. When the switch actually engages, it stays depressed, locked in. So looks like the stateroom overhead light is not a good switch. The galley is not a good switch. The vanity is a good switch. Bathroom overhead is not a good switch. So let's see what's due to being a bad switch and what's due to being other electrical issues in the lighting itself. The only thing that does work is the night light, which are this little rope light, which probably used to kind of be under here. All this stuff is a 12-volt system. So let me, that's the only light that's working. All right, so the panel lights, some of them work, some of them don't. That panel's not lit up. This is part of the panel lighting. Everything where we have a red, that is part of the panel lighting. And this panel is fully lit, is when the panel light is off. It doesn't, the backlits are not lit. So fiber optic switch is not, so I just turned the panel lights off, panel lights on. So all of these panel lights are kind of connected together. When you turn that one off, they all go out all throughout the coach. So those panel lights down there aren't working either. So that's what I'll be tracking down next. Panel lighting and lighting in general. All right, we're using power probe with the 12-volt cigarette lighter charger adapter. I've been troubleshooting the backlights using the power probe on a known working good, where half of the panel lights are on. I found that pin number 4, which is going to be that green wire, is hot on the ones that do have a solid 12 volts from the shore power side. I found that these lights have good grounds, but the switch, which is a relay control switch, goes to like the old school logic controller, which is basically a big relay board, and it is not getting any power coming through, so I'll have to go down back into the basement for that. But when we look at our probe on the back of these, as I test pin 4.
Ian?
Yes, sir. All right, so I was correct. It was a ground issue. On this Prevost, they have fuses on the grounds as well. So I found a blown fuse. All right, guys, my bad. Had to speak to the owner. So we fixed what we set out to fix on this one. This is a job where you got to take it one at a time. As you can see, everything's lit up, all the panels. So we were missing a ground. They fused the grounds. J15F1 is a ground fuse. We fixed that. So now we have the panels. How the panels work is they light, and when something is activated, it turns green. Pretty slick for 20 years ago. All right. A lot of guys don't like to work on these coaches that's 20 years old like this, because especially Prevost, because it's super complicated and, you know, you're just not used to it. But I relish the challenge, and electronics diagnostics is my specialty. So, and I have a lot more equipment and different types of equipment that a lot of people don't have because they're not into it like I'm into it. So, walking back, we got full panel lit instead of just partial. Some of the panels, only some of the buttons were lit, so we know that they're on 2 different circuits. So we have full panels lit everywhere. Now that we have the full panel lit, we can see if we're going to be able to activate some stuff like stateroom overhead lightings. Okay, so when I try to press that, it's not activating it. So I might have another issue with that. But on the fiber optics, when I press the button to activate the fiber optic lighting, which are literally fiber optic lightings, that switch activated and turned green. So we have a problem with the device itself. So we're gonna move down and take a look at that. All right, I'm not gonna get distracted by the clicking. Deal with that later. But you can hear that fan plugging away. The fiber optic unit itself, which is this Supervision, it is working. This is the light head. I've already removed the light head. It goes in here. And when I look inside, there's no light really coming out. There are some little lights in there, but those are just like other little LEDs. The main light bulb, which is right there, it's not lighting. So when I pull this apart, I'll see if it has power going to it. If it does, then it's just a blown light bulb. All right, so we got the unit open. As you can see, last time the bulb was changed is in 2004. That might be the original bulb. And this thing has a dead man switch on it, so when you open the cover, it kills the power. So it starts back up. There's a color wheel, and but as you can see, no light. Let's see. There's one of the LEDs in that little relay type deal. But yeah, this should be a 200 watt light bulb. It should be putting out a massive amount of light, and it's not. You could see the green looking color. That's just from the ambient light going through the color wheel. So let me get this light bulb out of here. And there you can see our blown bulb. I just have to take that clip off, use a thumb screw, pull the assembly down, and I'll take the 2 electrical connections off. And that's our bulb. I marked the old one so I can know how to wire up the new one, because the orientation is like this. So I marked the old one. And here we have it outside of the unit. This whole thing is the bulb assembly. It's all one piece. The bulb itself is right here, and it's glued, or it was glued. It's starting to fall apart a bit, but it's all together. So no model numbers or anything on it, so I guess we have to try to find one based off of looks and the numbers that is on the unit itself. All right, so while the owner is tracking down that part, because he has a line on a lot of these parts, he has connections, I'll move on to the next issue. So that's 3. We fixed the dimmer light issue that was diagnosed on our last trip. We fixed the backlights for the panels, which allowed for the switches to actually work. And we figured out what's going on with the fiber optics. So that leads us to getting the power probe back in here and finding out what's going on with these lights. This light bulb is good, so that's my test case. The rest of the light bulbs are already removed before I arrived. I don't know why the cover is off for where this air conditioner is. I can see that this air conditioner uses drain tubes, but gotta see what's going on with these lights, because like I say, they don't activate. The switch doesn't activate. Went ahead and let up all the shades. I like to be able to see the truck, see what's going on around me. So I'll let the shades up. It's not that hot of a day. Plus the windows are all tinted from the outside anyway, so it looks like the van is all solid black, even though it has 1,000 windows. Somebody else took this apart, so I don't know where they put the screws. Maybe I can find some. Get my power probe box and let's see what's going on with these lights in here. Again, like I was saying, stateroom overhead lights, when I press it, it doesn't light up, which kind of indicates it's not even making it through its relay on the little logic control type board. So it's never passing power. It's never making it through the relay. The only change I get, which I'll get the power probe and I'll show you, but these other lights will work. That's the desk light, and the closet lights will work as well. All right, so there's that. And then this is a pocket door that somebody else is working on, and it's all jacked up. This will be the last thing. I mean, it's off the track. I don't know where all the pieces are for it. He asked for these things. I don't get it, bro. But somebody else took that apart, so like I told him, it's kind of hard for me to put back a motor somebody else tore down, but I'll try after I get done with all the other stuff. So maybe after I get everything else working, the guy can get back in here and put that back together. All right, let me look at some schematics and see what's going on. Oh, let's get that shade up. All right, looking at these DC relays, I had a lot of them that were tripped. This Kilo 1 Alpha, looks like it's got something going on. Either that other Kilo 107 Alpha. Where's the green lights on that one? These, the little orange will pop up and you gotta roll it to reset it. So I reset a bunch of those. Let's go in the inside, see what's working, see what's not working. Pretty impressive for 20 years ago. All right, so I pulled out my Power Probe ECT 3000. Time to trace out some lines. I think it's something to do with the relays. Whenever I have the light master on, my hot wire becomes open. When I have them off, my hot wire for the stateroom becomes a ground, showing that it's capable of working, but you know, no power still being applied. So as soon as I hook this up, it lets me know that I'm dealing with an open, not a short. And I'm going to go ahead and get this guy cranked up, power on. And I'm going to hit the sense lock. All right, I got the sensitivity down really low. And as you can see, all of these are sharing. So now let's see if I can catch it down below. Let's go back to the basement and see if I can find in what compartment do those wires go. So let me see if I can find that. All right, so to dealing with a lot of wires like this, turn the sensitivity up really high. And then it's telling you which way to go here. It's saying that it's back here and it's saying it's right there. Okay. Now it's saying this way, but now it's saying that way. You can't see it. Give me a second, guys. Ouch. Let me switch hands. Alright, so this thing has arrows to tell you which way to go. When you get that, the circle tells you you're on it. So right around there, we're on it. Okay? So once I see that it's around here somewhere, right about there, then I turn the sensitivity way down. And then I touch. Okay, so I'm hitting on the K8s. So you can see I'm hitting here. I'm hitting here, but not there. So on these two, I'm getting my hit. To be sure about that, because the wireless signal can bleed, that's when I use my power probe, and I take it, this is the Altel version, and I put it on AC. I know that my tool puts out a 4 kilohertz tone, so I'll come, yeah, I got something here, but the frequency is not right. That's nothing. I got a better looking wave there, but the frequency still isn't right. Okay, see, I got that high pitch beat, and I got 3.9 kilohertz. There and there. So again, I verified with the power probe to get all the way narrowed down that my signal is being fed into this relay Kilo 8 Sierra and Kilo 8 Romeo. So those are the two that I'm going to be working with, and that's why I love this ECT 3000. It's a very accurate tracer, and I've had very good success with it. So let me start investigating the K8, the Kilo 8 relays, and see if that is in fact the relay that controls the switch that is supposed to latch to give me power on my lights. All right, guys, so we got power probe for the win again in combination with the Altel power scan. I showed you how you can use those two in a combination to narrow down a wire. We narrowed down this one to the 2 Kilo 8 relays, which after I took it all apart, I found that they were jumpered together. That's why it sounded on both of them. But I positively narrowed that down by using the frequency side of my Altel power scan, which is the equivalent of a Power Probe 4. Power Probe 3 does not have that feature. All right. After doing that, I traced all the wires back and found that it brought me right back to here, and I ended up at another dimmer switch. So switch that over to a known working one. Lights came on, switch shows green, everything works properly. So we got to get another one of these. That will take care of the lights in the stateroom. That clicking noise, there's a bad component somewhere in there that has failed, and it's barely making a connection through something else that it shouldn't be. The same clicking occurs whenever I touch my power probe just in idle to the bad switch here, and then it starts clicking over here. So I know we got a bad component over there. The clicking is actually coming from the shore power board number 1, shore power phase loss. That's the board that's clicking. So we'll keep plugging away at this. These snap-on, the mini plier sets came in very handy because that's the size you need for these tiny screws. So very glad I had that kit. Any kit would have worked that had that size in it. So now I'm just cleaning up. There's a Waffle House right next door. I think I'll go get a late lunch.